Hi, I'm Ernie Medina with TRB, and today I'm joined by Brendan Arbelon, one of our TRB instructors. And today we're here to talk to you a little bit about the 3 and 5 point presentations and some of the pros and cons of each, and just our personal thoughts about them. I particularly like running the 5 point presentation. Brendan, I know when he's a carrying appendix, likes the 3 point presentation. But first, let's talk a little bit about what the heck is a presentation. So the presentation is your holster draw, in the case here with the pistol. So a 5 point presentation is typically used when you are running at the, say, 4 o'clock position if you're a righty, or about the 8 o'clock position if you're a lefty. And it is the 5 different points that you go through in order to get the firearm up and out of the holster and into the quote-unquote fight. The 3 point presentation is designed typically for appendix style carry, where the firearm will be at the 1 o'clock position, typically on your hip if you're right-handed, 11 o'clock position if you're left-handed. Okay, so we're going to go and talk. I'm going to talk about the 5 point. Brendan's going to talk about the 3 point, and we'll just talk about our opinions from there. But starting with the 3 point, talk a little bit about the 3 point, what it is, how it works, and what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so the 3 point presentation is derived from having an appendix carry holster, right? It is faster if you just go from 1, 2, all right, center chest, and then 3. Now, a lot of people are usually iffy about doing this type of presentation on an appendix carry holster because they're afraid they might lose position 3 shooting, right? Which is a misconception, right? Yeah. You're just skipping that part because you're getting faster. The thing about you could still go to position 3, it's just how you just have to be mentally noting yourself like, hey, he's too close, then I'm gonna draw to position 3. So 1, 2, 3, the 3 point presentation is really fast because you do skip 2 of the other points that typically 5 point presentations would go to.
Which I'll demonstrate what 2 points we quote-unquote skip.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so like I said, it's faster, it's more efficient for appendix carry though. Because if you also do it from here, you're also missing out on the effectivity of that gun by a lot.
So the thing with the 3 point presentation and what Brendan is talking about, position 3, again, we'll demonstrate in a moment. You generally, if you have the distance, you don't need to go to position 3, because in this retention center chest position, you can fire from there. So if you have distance from your threat, you wouldn't need to come back to this position 3. What Brendan is also talking about, the need for coming back to this position 3 that we're talking about, is if my attacker is right here within arm's reach and I need to get a round off while potentially defending an attack or keeping him at bay some way, then I would want to get a position 3 where you can rip that firearm up and out of the appendix position and then back to that position 3. But that would be an altered draw for the appendix type carry.
Very specific scenario too, right?
Right.
But like I said, a misconception is that a lot of the appendix carrier or people that do position 3 point presentations never do position 3. And that's a bad way to train, is because realistically, if you're having an appendix carry holster and if they get in your space, you gotta get that gun away from the center of the fight, because the first thing he's gonna do if I grab this, he's gonna try to grab the firearm. So that's why, even though you're doing position 3, which we're gonna demonstrate right now, 3 point presentation, you should be able to do position 3 as well.
And what Brendan just alluded to with position 3, one of the things that I always like to highlight, which I believe is wildly overlooked in just in general with folks that carry, especially in the appendix, is that you got to be able to defend that firearm. You got to be able to defend that firearm in any position that you carry, but primarily in the appendix position, because it is right here in the front. And if, as in a lot of encounters, go from verbal to physical, hand-to-hand, and may escalate into a gunfight, if I am close in with Brendan and I get into a fist fight or a physical struggle, clothing can move, and we are going to be in proximity. And if I have access to this firearm and he's within arm's reach, he has access to that firearm. So you have to be able to defend that firearm. You need to make sure that your hand-to-hand skills are there. Otherwise, you have a higher risk of getting the firearm taken from you and potentially used against you.
Yeah,
so that's a concern that I always highlight. But go ahead.
It's like saying like, oh, appendix carry does give you a little bit of situational awareness and control of the firearm, but just because you have situational control of the firearm doesn't mean you know how to fight for that gun.
Correct.
You know, so if you are going to appendix carry, make sure you know how to defend that firearm, because just as you have control over it, the opponent also has control over it. So.
Right. Now, it doesn't mean to say in the traditional carry where you're at the 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock, that doesn't mean you don't need to be able to defend your firearm. That's not true. It just means that you have a little bit more margin for error in those positions, because me simply taking a step back with my strong side, that'll get some more distance from the threat and the firearm. So he's going to have to reach farther, or it's just out of arm's reach if I keep my hip back. Whereas if it's over here, it didn't really move, okay? It's the same thing as if you have something towards the center of a circle and that circle rotates, it doesn't rotate that much than if it's on the outside of the circle. So a little bit of math and physics lesson for you.
So since you're already talking about drawing from here, so you want to move on to...
Let's talk about the 5-point presentation. Okay, so the 5-point presentation, again, is designed for that 4 and 8 o'clock position. Now, the 5 points is really getting my hand on the grip, securing my support hand, and in this case, it would be removing or revealing the garment. Okay, so that's what you get here, and you're also doing that in the 3-point presentation as well. But position 1, 2, getting that firearm up and out of the holster, which remains vertical. 3, that position 3 that we were referring to a moment ago, is leveling the firearm here. Why we want to do that in the 5-point presentation is because I want to get that gun level and employable as soon as possible. Okay. Same thing with 3-point presentation, is ripping it out of the holster and up here gets it into employable position as soon as possible. So that's why I will deliberately pass through position 3, then get my hand to center chest retention, position 4, and then press out from there. I can shoot or employ the firearm as early as position 3 all the way to and through position 5. Okay, so the pros to that is that I get to keep that position 3, and I have it as part of my normal draw, and I can protect that firearm. And it's actually more comfortable. That's one thing we didn't mention. Too, yeah. Carrying a position 4 or position 8 on the side is a lot more comfortable when seated and things like that. And for us guys, I don't know, peace of mind, I just like the gun not being in my center area.
Yeah, cause it's true, because I have switched so much in terms of, up until like maybe 2 weeks ago, I haven't found an actual appendix carry holster that feels like it's not there. You know, I think I showed you that one holster that I have, which is Tenecore, that has like some kind of body contour on it. And that's the first one that when you're sitting down and you're just standing up, it doesn't feel it. But prior to that, a lot of the, sidecar, TRX Arms, LS, concealment express holsters, a lot of those are great holsters, but you do feel them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a level of comfort that you can live with, but you gotta realize that position 4, or with you, what is it, position?
I'm at the 8 o'clock position.
8 o'clock, it's an easier holster, because I literally have 3 holsters for like the sides, and they work. But I've gone through so many appendix carry holsters, and I barely found the one that I actually love after what, like 5 years of carrying, almost 6 years now. Yeah.
So let's get into it. Why don't you demonstrate briefly the 3-point presentation? Let's go ears on, and why don't you show us what that looks like? Why don't you do slow-mo first? Okay. All right. So on the go, just go ahead and explain and demonstrate the 3-point presentation.
Okay. All right. So 3-point presentation, the first thing you want to do, whatever position, surrender, whatever, relax. First thing you want to do is defeat the garment, and then grab your firearm, right? Having a good presentation here. This is position 1. Position 2 is just coming directly center chest, right? Getting that gun level so that you're able to engage. And from here, you're just going to present out and then engage. That's it, simple.
So positions 1, 2, and 3, okay? I'll go ahead and demonstrate the 5-point presentation. So the 5-point presentation, going through all the steps, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and reveal my garment, and this could simulate a button-down shirt or a polo shirt or t-shirt covering my belt line, so any type of garment covering my belt line, in this case a jacket, I'm going to reveal the garment as high as I can so I can get a grip on the firearm. This is my position 1. Finger would be straightened off the trigger where it would actually be when I actually rip this firearm up and out. Position 2, I'm going to rip that firearm out, keeping it vertical. Position 3, level the firearm. Now, as you can see, and this actually can happen, as I have the jacket, there's a little bit of garment here. It's not necessarily impeding, but I do want to get this close to me. So even if I do fire from here, I can employ this firearm from position 3 and not have any problems with my garment. Then I'm going to, as I complete the grip, come into position 4, center chest. And this is where Brendan was when he pulled the firearm up and out of the holster. This is his position 2, my position 4. And then I'll press straight out and break that shot. And that's the 5-point presentation. So there you have it. Those are just a couple of the different presentations. You have the 3-point presentation, the 5-point presentation. Just remember, regardless of which one you choose, both have their pros and cons. Pound for pound, the 3-point presentation can be faster, actually, because you have less steps to go through and you're getting quicker to that center chest position. The cons to the position 3 is, again, having to defend the firearm, sometimes comfort, and a couple other things. The pros to position 5, I'm sorry, the 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock position with the 5-point presentation, as I mentioned, the firearm is more to the side of your hip, it's more comfortable and things like that. It can be a little bit slower, but it is a little bit easier to defend. So each type of carry, whether it be these two or any others, have their pros and cons. And for the most part, no one position is better than the other. It's which one works for you. And whichever one you choose, make sure that you train to it, right? And make sure you have it down to proficiency. So what I'd like to ask is go ahead and comment below. Tell us what position you like and why, of course, and some of the pros and cons that you experience, and let us know. And that way everybody can benefit from everybody's opinion. Anything else?
That's it.
Are you worried for your personal and home protection and new to the firearms world and learning how to live safely? Our fully loaded private training package includes your firearm safety certificate needed for firearms purchase, training at the indoor and outdoor range where you will learn the fundamentals of pistol shooting as well as scenario-based encounters, and a full session dedicated to finding the firearm that is most suitable for you. You can choose to ignore the responsibility of your personal safety and those around you, or you can relinquish that fear and become a responsible defender. Sign up now for our fully loaded training package.